Hi, how's it going?
It's great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you're here today.
Yeah, me too.
So, I know that last session we covered confidentiality briefly, so you don't need to go over that again, and just sort of what we can expect. And I thought that this time I could try to get more of a feel for who you are, the important people in your life, just sort of what the different things that are affecting you and what you interact with day to day. So an idea that I had for doing that, if that sounds okay to you, is called an eco map. So how does that plan sound, and would you like to hear more about an eco map?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, great. So the idea behind an eco map is sort of that we have a visual, so that's why I have this paper and pencil here, and it provides sort of a visual representation for you in the center, and then the different people and ways you spend your time. You can really put anything that you want on an eco map.
Okay.
And you can express sort of closeness and the kind of relationship you have, and you can take it with you when you leave. And it's just sort of nice and like a simple way to see all of those different things and the way that they interact.
Sure.
That sounds okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you would want to draw it, or would you want me to draw it, or would you sort of want to work on it together?
We could do it together.
Yeah, that sounds good to me too. So just to get started, we'll put you in the center, if that sounds okay. Cool. Cassidy. And you'll get your own circle.
Sweet.
So then we can go wherever you want to from here. You can talk about people who are close to you. That tends to be a good place to start. Family, friends, significant others. Or we can jump straight into ways you spend your time, like school or work.
So anything that I relate to in life could go on here?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I guess we could start with my immediate family?
Yeah.
Sweet. So do I just like tell you my relationship like with my mom, or like?
Yeah, let's start with your mom.
Okay, cool. I was raised sort of by my mom by herself, and so that presented some kind of like difficulties in our relationship, because now I feel like some soreness, or like it's harder to connect because there's a lot of old issues, but also, she's one of the like closer people to me because she knows me better than, so many other people, because I spent so much time with her. So if I were going to describe our relationship, it would be solid in a sense that she's always like been there for me, and I feel like she's dependable. And then I don't know, maybe like I don't know, what's a good word for like frayed nerves, or you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like sensitive, like short fuse, I don't know. So we're like close, but we don't like.
Short fuse for you or for her or both?
I think we're actually like pretty similar, both short fuse. So
so
yeah,
it's
kind
good
of like,
until it's not good, sort of.
Yeah, and then when one of us sort of like gets to a point where they kind of like overflow and stop being like patient with the other person, then the other person reacts the same way,
Okay, so in terms of this as being a whole picture of you and the systems in your life, we could do like things that are close to you being actually close to your circle, and then things that are not as close to you being further away. So where, with that in mind, would you want to put your mom?
Maybe like halfway in between me and like the edge of the paper, sort of like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of arbitrary to like give it a distance, I would think, but like,
yeah,
that would
we
make
don't
sense,
have to do it that way if that seems like just another thing.
No. I just mean like it's not, I'm just like giving it a reference point.
Yeah.
So like me and my mom will be halfway in between the center and the edge of the paper, and I'll build everything else off that. I didn't mean arbitrary, like it doesn't make sense. I just want
Totally. And this is pencil, so if you start to look at it and you see, like, my mom is way too far away or way too close, we can always move it.
Okay, cool.
So let's look about halfway.
Sure.
What's your mom's name?
Carol.
Carol. She'll be here. So just to make sure that I'm understanding before I draw any connecting lines, it sounds like you really value the consistency that your relationship with your mom has offered. She is always there for you. You don't have to wonder if she cares, if she'll show up if you need something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you both kind of have this short fuse with each other, so interactions aren't always easy. When you say short fuse, do you mean that there are disagreements that come up frequently, or like what does that look like, I guess?
Yeah, I think we sort of push each other's buttons. I don't know. I mean, she definitely pushes mine. Like, we might talk, if she brings up finances or something, I'll tell her like that I like get stressed out and sort of frustrated because when we talk about it, I feel like she doesn't like respect, I don't know, like my decisions, or I kind of feel like, talked down to in those situations. Like she'll tell me super simple stuff like, you need to be paying off your student loans, or you need to be like saving money. And I'm like, Mom, I can figure that out. But she just like will keep doing the same thing. So I'm sure I press a lot of her buttons in the same way, press some things I don't even realize, but that would be it. So it's not really like disagreements as much as just like overworked conversations that like become frustrating, to me.
So it seems like if we were to use a straight line for a solid relationship, a zigzag line for sort of a frayed relationship, or maybe one that is a bit difficult, and then a double straight line for super solid relationship, what would you want to put here?
By those descriptions, I guess like I feel a little bit in between solid one line and the zigzag line.
Yeah, let's put both.
Cool.
So would you say that your mom is affecting you in both of these ways, or you're affecting your mom in both of these ways, or maybe both?
Yeah, I think we're both. You know what? I couldn't be sure, but I feel like we're both in pretty similar places. Where, me now living like out of state and pretty far away, especially kind of gives us both space to like when we're like contacting one another to like listen to what they're saying and take that into account, because we know we don't get to have that contact as often. So I think because of that, we're both like working on it and getting better every time. So I would feel like I think I'm growing in that relationship, but I would definitely say that I feel like she is too.
Yeah. So you can put arrows coming both ways. Does that look okay?
It's great.
Pretty accurate?
Yeah.
As far as the picture goes?
Yeah.
Great. So we've talked a little bit about your mom. Do you want to talk about your dad at all?
Yeah. I really love my dad. But our story is a little unorthodox. My parents got in a divorce when I was 9, and my dad's had like problems with drugs and alcohol. Drugs in my like younger childhood years, so not in anything that I remember. Alcohol like his whole life, but I don't know. I guess just like the way our family dynamic worked. My mom was like the disciplinarian and sort of the bad guy. My dad was. I never thought of him like a drunk or an alcoholic. He would like be sort of like constantly tipsy. He always like would drink like box Chardonnay like with a couple ice cubes in it just throughout the day. And so and he was always like kind of like sweet and goofy one to us. And then, even if we didn't get to see him as much, he was like the one we would still like somehow like find our support in, or like we like thought he was like supporting us well, because he was the one that wasn't like yelling at us every day or something like that. And when I say us, I mean my sister and I. So the reason it's sort of like an odd relationship is because I don't have a lot of like contact with my dad. Like, I see him like once every like couple or few years. He lives in West Virginia, where his family is, and he moved there when I was maybe in high school. So like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. And I call him he calls me about once a week. So we have about like a 15 to like 30-minute conversation, and it's like just like about what's going on in our lives. So I like still really love him, and he's like super compassionate and nice and really goofy and really fun, and really interesting. And I look up to him a lot, but also, I don't know. I mean, like I couldn't say he's like particularly close. So, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of spacing, and with your mom being in this halfway point, where do you think your dad would be?
I would say further out than my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just like a little bit ways further. Yeah.
What's your dad's name?
James Clyde Green.
Put James out here. And then we have these lines we can think about. Mm-hmm. And we can always use multiple, like we did with your mom.
Yeah, I guess it's like a little trickier, because it's sort of like, I guess there's maybe more to it I'm not understanding, but I wouldn't say our relationship is like frayed at all. And so maybe that like the zigzag line can represent more than just like difficult. It's sort of like shallow but like solid. Like, I don't know. Maybe like if you had an elevator man in your apartment and you like always had a 5-minute conversation with him like once a day, Yeah. And it's somebody like who's like always friendly, and you like know a little bit about, and you like, you ask him like why he's gone a few days if you don't see him, or something like that. But it doesn't go like much further than that.
What if we came up with our own symbol for that? Because I would agree with you. I don't know that any of the lines would fit that situation. So what would be a good representation?
Yeah. Maybe like a straight line that's like dotted. So it's sort of like, the dotting being like a little bit of a phantom, or like a little bit like less existent. So it's like solid, but like not as substantial as like a real solid line,
Yeah. I think that's a good one. Good choice. And would you want to put arrows going both ways? Do you feel like you're sort of a phantom with your dad too?
Yeah. I like, if anything, I think he is a lot better at staying in contact with me, because he calls me like every week, and I try to answer as often as I can, but I'm not very good at initiating anything. So if anything, the benefit should be given to him, but I think we do both, like feel like the same, and sort of like give, I guess, like similar amounts, I don't know. So I put the arrow both ways, I guess.
Sounds good. So we have your mom, Carol, your dad, James, and you mentioned you had a sister. Do you want to talk about your sister?
Yeah.
Is she your only sibling?
Yep, she's my one. She's 3 years older. I really like Whitney, is her name. We're not as close as I sort of wish we would be. But I'm really not like good at being active with my even like close family. And active, I mean like pursuing any sort of like time or like intentional contact. So it's like my fault. I mean, she calls me every now and then, and I don't call her very much, if ever. I text her every now and then. So she would probably be about the same distance as my dad, and maybe like the same kind of line. I guess our relationship's pretty similar. She moved out when I was 13. She was 16, and she just like stayed with friends and stuff. And then, yeah, and so we like since I was 13, we haven't lived in the same house. So it's been, 10 years. But of course, we are on like super good terms. So like anytime like a holiday or anything comes around where I would see her birthdays, all that stuff. We like really well and we have fun together, but we're just not like super good at keeping in touch. So I'd probably say it's in the same kind of spot. Like if she lived like closer, especially, it would be like more substantial. And the same with my dad. If like he lived closer, it would be like more substantial. But just like as it lies, probably be like a straight dotted line.
So same placement as your dad and the same markings in terms of line?
I think so.
So perfect. Whitney, does this look like a good spot?
Yeah, that works great.
There we go. Are we missing anybody in your immediate family?
That's my whole immediate family, yeah. So we're good. Another, if we're still on people, my girlfriend, her name's Mariah, and we've been dating for over a year and a half, and we've been friends for over 3 years, I think. And so she's definitely someone that I would put close to my own center circle.
Yeah, so maybe here? Like how?
Yeah, like
as close as you can get, or somewhere.
Yeah, like just enough room to put the arrows.
Got it. So about here.
It's beautiful.
So tell me about Mariah.
I've been in love with Mariah for a long time. We were friends and best friends in college, and I've had feelings for her for a long time, and then eventually after a couple of years, we started dating, and I moved to Tulsa where she was already living, and we broke up for a few months, but we got back together, and we were I think a lot better for the time apart. Not that I could have seen that before or anything, but yeah. And so since then it's been another year, and we're like in a great place. We are thinking about getting married, and that's like a very sort of like present and near reality, and I'm really excited about that. And I feel incredibly supported by her and loved by her, and she makes me a much better person, and I'm so grateful for that. And I love doing life with her, and yeah, she's everything I could ever want.
That's great. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that maybe one of those double lines. It sounds like it's a strong relationship, one that, as you said, makes you feel supported and well loved. And it seems like, from what you were saying, that you guys have been through some hard times and have learned how to work through them, and so you can feel confident moving forward. Is that?
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you?
That's perfect. Yeah.
All right. Do that double line, and is that it seemed like you were describing sort of the way Mariah affects you. So the double line would be going toward you. But do you think that would go both ways?
Yeah. Do you mean the arrow from me going to her? Is that, I mean, do I feel like I like love and support her and and that kind of stuff? I think so. I know I try. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's all right to venture that the arrow goes both ways.
Great. So this is looking pretty accurate so far?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So how are you liking doing the genogram at this point?
Yeah, I
or
think
the
it's,
eco map.
yeah,
Misspoke.
no worries. I like it. I think it's a good way to sort of like see where your like struggles are, things to talk about, kind of like bookmark issues for like later visits and stuff like that. Because obviously like has the potential to cover a lot. So that's cool.
So with that in mind, our time for today is up, but if you're liking this, and it sounds like you are, then I can hold on to it and we can keep working on it if you feel like another session is a good idea for you.
Yeah.
And then when it's finished, you can take it home and just have it as a frame of reference. But until then, we could use it as sort of a tool to see where we want to keep having conversations.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Great. Well, then I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much, Cassidy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.